Let me see. I think the problem with having it on the phone at the same time is going to be audio.
Well, if you're talking to me, then you don't really need the audio.
It's going to let me, though. Are you on yet? You're not on yet, right?
I just started. It just went live.
Okay, there you go. You're live. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I can see you.
Okay, I want to see if I can change the latency.
You're gonna change what?
There's a way to control the latency.
So what does that mean?
The length of time. Okay, here we go. It's already on ultra low latency. Okay. The delay, because they put a delay in intentionally so that people can't stream snipe you. Where if you're streaming, they can watch your hand and kind of know what's in your hand. So YouTube has it set up. Has it set up to put a delay in. But I've adjusted it to a low latency, so there's not a delay, not as much of a delay. Okay.
Can't I mute the YouTube somehow?
Yeah, you should be. There should be an option to mute it. Are you getting like an echo or something?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's there, but I don't.
Well, here's what I'll do. It says we're just talking you and me. No, that won't work.
Yeah, no. Keep going with what you're doing.
Did you figure out what you got going?
Well, if I turn, no, I want to hear you. I guess on YouTube. I'll just have to live with the echo.
Why do you want to hear me on YouTube?
I don't know.
I think you should try to mute it. Honestly.
It's not obvious. I mean, I'm not totally tech stupid. It's not obvious where the mute is. I'm not sure. It's usually on the bottom bar, and there's nothing there.
Maybe that's because you're on. Yeah, it's not there, is it? Well.
I'll just live with it.
Okay.
It's not that bad. I can barely hear it. I don't know. Can you hear it?
Nope, I don't hear it at all.
Okay. Well, I can barely hear it. So.
Okay, so this is the deck I've been playing in Historic. Historic is the format that you can use any card that's on Arena, basically. So you can use older cards and newer cards. So basically the plan of this deck is to get these guys on the field. This is Teferi, Master of Time. And this is Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. And if you get both of these guys on the field, you can just start to take over the game. Because
Why? What do you do? Like, they got 3 abilities or whatever. What's the powerful abilities?
Yeah. See? This is exactly what we need, so we can talk about this stuff. Okay. So with Teferi, Master of Time, it says you may activate loyal abilities of Teferi, Master of Time on any player's turn anytime you could cast an instant. So that's different than most Planeswalkers. Most Planeswalkers you can only activate during your own turn. This Teferi you can activate.
You can, as a response to something somebody's doing, you can play this card.
Well, if it's in play, it has this ability here. It has to be in play. But the loyalty abilities of +1, draw a card, discard a card, -3, target creature you don't control phases out, or -10, take 2 extra turns after this one. You can do those abilities anytime you could cast an instant. So you can do it during your opponent's turns as well. So on my turn, I can draw a card and discard a card. On their turn, I can draw a card and discard a card.
Every time?
Every turn, yes.
And so then if you can get it up to 10, then you can take 2 extra turns. So you can take 3 turns in a row?
Correct. Yep.
Is that pretty powerful then?
Oh,
if you do
yeah.
that?
That's very powerful. The thing that's the best about it is the -3, though. Target creature you don't control phases out. So basically,
what does that mean?
Well, it says right underneath there, it says treat it and anything attached to it as though they don't exist until their controller's next turn. So they attack it. Let's say they attack Teferi. If they attack it for an amount that would kill Teferi, I can remove 3 counters instead to phase their creature out so that it has no effect on the field until their next turn.
So it's got a defensive aspect built into the card.
Yes. So this is a powerful planeswalker here. Then this is his big brother. It's the same person. It's Planeswalker Teferi, but they're 2 different cards, so they can both be on the battlefield. So this one, it costs a little bit more mana, and it's blue and white. But it's +1, draw a card. At the beginning of the next end step, untap 2 lands. So, I can draw a card, I can play it for 5, I can draw a card and immediately untap 2 lands, which makes it so that I can use those lands to cast something else. Or it also has... Okay, go ahead.
Do you use those lands to cast something during your turn, or do you use those as a defense if you need to cast something during somebody else's turn?
Right. The 2 things that I cast like that, one of them is here, is it costs 2 mana, so it works very good with Teferi Hero Dominaria. Return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. So it's just a way to negate one play from your opponent, whether it be returning a creature to their hand or stopping a spell that they're going to cast. It's just a delay tactic. But that's all you really need to do is just slow them down enough.
Are those your home run cards then? Those are the ones you want on the field with?
These 2, yeah. And then he also, the -3, put target non-land permanent on top of his owner's library, 3rd from the top. So it's kind of similar to the second ability on the other Teferi, but this one takes that card and puts it back into their library, 3rd from the top, so they won't draw it for like 3 turns.
Okay.
And then -8, you get an emblem whenever you draw a card, exile target permanent. Once you get that on the field, it's over.
Why is that?
Because you draw so many cards. Every time you draw a card, you can exile something. So just by drawing a card,
you're basically clearing their board.
Yes.
Every time you draw a card.
Yeah. Yeah. So then this is the smallest planeswalker. This is Narset, Harder of Veils. It has no plus ability. It has a static effect of each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. So it stops people from drawing extra cards on their turns.
Oh, that's cool.
And then it has a -2. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, reveal a non-creature, non-land, and put that into your hand. So you can play Narset, and then remove 2 counters from it, dig down into your library, and get another card to replace it. So.
But those 4 cards, it has to be a spell though, right? It has to be a non-creature, non-land?
Right. So you couldn't get any of the lands, and this deck only has 2 creatures. Like the whole...
Your deck only has 2 creatures?
Yes.
So this deck is mostly what?
Mostly spells. I've got, well, I mean, there's 12 planeswalkers, and then this
a bunch of instants?
Yeah, I mean, this is an instant. This is an instant. This is an instant. This is a sorcery. And
Okay.
then I got a couple of a big time enchantments.
Okay, cool.
Have you?
Wait, go
Have
back
you
to
ever
that other one.
What's that?
Go back to Elsef Conquers Death.
Oh yeah, this is an enchantment. This is a saga. Sagas have 3 chapters. So when you first play it, the first chapter is opened. Exile target permanent an opponent controls with converted mana cost 3 or greater. Then the next turn, chapter 2, non-creature spells your opponents cast this turn cost 2 more to cast. And then the third saga is return target creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put a +1/+1 counter or a loyalty counter on it. So if it's a creature, it gets a +1/+1 counter. If it's a loyalty, or if it's a planeswalker, it gets an extra loyalty. The loyalty is down in the bottom right corner here. So Teferi would come in with 5 counters if that was the case, as opposed to 4.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So that thing, it only has power for 3 turns and then it's useless, or what?
Which one?
The Saga.
Well, yeah, but I mean, each one of those abilities is very, very good. I mean, the third one is what's really good about it, is because you can get, let's say your opponent killed your Teferi Master of Time, you can get Teferi Master of Time back on that third turn.
Okay.
So then
but then
you can,
after the third turn, it's worthless, right?
yeah, then it's gone.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, you sacrifice after 3. It says there up at the top.
Okay, I missed that. I missed that. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So then, this is a very simple card. 2 blue and a white, counter target spell. It can be any spell that's cast. And then you gain 3 life. So this is really powerful against small aggressive decks, because you basically just trade this card for one of their cards and gain 3 life, which keeps you going longer against their aggressive plan.
Now, when it says counter target spell, can that mean a creature too? That you can
A creature. It's a creature spell until it's on the field. Everything except for a land. Everything except for land is considered a spell.
So if he wanted to play a big time creature and you play that, does he have to put it back in his hand?
No, it goes to the graveyard.
It goes to the graveyard?
Yep, it's out of play.
Wow.
Yep. Now that's different than this one here. Unsubstantiate, return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. So that means they get to have it again and they can use it again. But that's more of just like a tempo type of a play.
Right, it's a delay deal.
So then the all of that's cool, and now we get to the 6-drops. And the 6-drops is where things get crazy. So there's Dream Trawler, the Sphinx, 2 blue, 2 white, and 2. 3/5 flying and lifelink. Flying means that it can only be blocked by creatures that have flying or creatures that can block flying creatures. And lifelink means that whenever it deals damage, you gain that much life. Okay, so then whenever you draw a card, what's that?
Does that include defensive damage or not?
Anytime it deals damage. Yep. So then, whenever you draw a card, Dream Trawler gets +1/+0 till end of turn. Whenever Dream Trawler attacks, draw a card. So all sorts of good stuff on there. And then it's even.
What's hexproof?
Yeah, it's hexproof means that it can't be targeted. So if somebody has destroy target creature, then you can just discard a card to give it hexproof in response, and then it's tapped, but that's okay because it doesn't die.
Does that mean it can't get attacked either?
Right. If it's tapped, it can't block. I think that's what you're asking.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, it means hexproof means that when you can, like, here I got it up here. You can see where it says what flying does, what lifelink does,
there we go. Okay,
and what hexproof does.
Can't be the target of spells or abilities. But can Hexproof does not prevent another player from attacking you with a creature, though, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So that's Dream Trawler. And then, are you familiar with the movie Sharknado?
I'm not familiar with anything.
This is unrelated to Magic. Sharknado.
Oh. No, I'm not.
They were stupid B movies that came out on TV, and people, like, I don't know, people just, like, loved them. And it's a stupid movie about a tornado that brings sharks onto land, and the sharks kill people. And it's a meme, it's a joke, but people love it, and they've made multiple of these movies. Okay? So Magic, responding to popular culture, makes this card.
This card? Oh, yeah. Shark. Okay.
Shark.
Flying shark?
Shark Typhoon. So it makes flying sharks. It's just a joke.
Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a XX blue shark with flying, where X is that spell's converted mana cost.
Right.
And what's cycling do?
You discard the card and draw a card.
So if you pay, how many mana do you have to pay for that?
The least amount you pay is 1, a blue, and 0. X is a variable. So you can pay 1 and a blue, discard this, it'll create a 0/0 shark, and then you can draw a card. But you don't typically want to do that unless you need mana or something.
And these sharks can go over the top of creatures unless they also have flying, right?
Correct, yeah. And every other thing in my deck, except for those 2 creatures, are a non-creature spell. So everything will make a shark. So you get this Shark Typhoon on the battlefield, and then every single thing that you play makes a shark.
So is this a shark deck?
Well, I mean, it's got the Shark Typhoon at the top end. This is a control deck. And then this is the one...
Do you think the Shark Typhoon card is a little overpowered or not?
The Shark Typhoon is a very powerful card. It's versatile, because if you get it early and you can't use it, you can discard it to make a small shark. And you can sometimes, like... You can do it as an instant, so you can, like... If you have 5 mana, you can make a 3/3 shark, and then block your opponent's creature. You know?
Yeah.
And then also, if it enters the battlefield, then you can start making sharks with every play you make. It just gets out of control really quick. So this will win the game if you get it out. And then this is the one, this is the Saga, this deck. I've won so many games because of this card. It was the Saga, kind of like Elspeth Conquers Death.
Each player returns 2 land cards from their graveyard to the battlefield.
Yeah, so the first Saga...
Why is that important?
The first Saga destroys all lands. My lands, their lands are all gone.
It wipes the whole board?
All land. And you need land in order to cast spells. So I wait until I have a Dream Trawler out, or a couple of Planeswalkers. I've got some good board presence. And then I'll cast Fall of the Thran. Wipe everything out. And then I have another little secret here. Right here, this land.
Why is that? Because you're taking the cards and put them in the exile on them?
Right. So the first thing I do is I cast Fall of the Thran, destroy all lands. Then I play my land for the turn, which is Bojuka Bog. And then I exile all the cards from their graveyard.
So he has no lands left in his
graveyard. So
graveyard.
then, the second and third chapter of Fall of the Thran, each player returns 2 land cards from the graveyard. I'm the only one that has land in my graveyard because I just exiled their graveyard.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah,
thing,
that's cool.
another thing that works as well is I cast Fall of the Thran with Bojuka Bog in play, and then the chapter 2, I bring Bojuka Bog back, and they get 2 lands, but they do not get in the 4 lands back.
Right.
So, and that devastates people. I just can totally ruin everything for them with that. So, now the only thing we haven't talked about is these 6 cards here. Settle the Wreckage is pretty sweet. It works really good with Teferi.
So you're making them give up creatures, but then they get to put more land on their board.
Right. Yeah. So they I'll play Teferi out with like 7 mana, draw a card, and then untap 2 lands, so I have 4 lands untapped, goes back to their turn, and then they send their creatures at me and also possibly at my planeswalkers, and then I cast this, eliminate all of their attack, they get a whole bunch of land out of their deck, and then I untap, cast Fall of the Thran, destroy all those lands, play a Bojuka Bog, and the game's over.
So this you can do it a couple different ways, but you actually have like a 3-phase plan if you get a chance.
And then I have Shatter the Sky, which is kind of like Settle the Wreckage, but it's a little bit different. It's a conditional removal spell too.
Then destroy all creatures.
Yep. Yep. So I'm not running creatures, so it never really affects me to cast these spells. Because, I mean, this is something that comes out only in the way late game. So. Alright, well, that's about it. Did I play it?
Yeah.
Alright.
Fire it up. I want to see you win.
Alright, this is where I'm at. I spent 500 gold to get into this, and I've won 4, I've lost 2. So I have 1 more loss to give, and I could win. If I don't lose, I could clear up to 1,000 gold and 3 cards. So I need to try to win 1 more time, so I get one of these cards will be a rare that I get. But I've already got my gold back.
No.
I already got my gold back. I've done good enough to get my gold back.
You did get your gold back?
Yeah. All right, here we go. Miss Dogan. Miss Dogan. All right, this is a pretty good hand. I've got these lands come into the battlefield tapped. I can pay 2 life and they come in untapped. So I have 3 mana. I have something to play early. And then, of course, Settle the Wreckage to kind of take care of a bad scenario. And then all I need is just to draw a couple of land, and I'm... Oh, there's Shark Typhoon. Okay, so I'm going to choose to enter tapped because I have nothing to play for 1 mana. My opponent did the same thing, but they have Temple Garden, so there's green-white. Oh, Core Spirit Dancer deck. This is some serious business.
What kind of deck?
Core Spirit Dancer. It gets +2/+2 for each aura attached to it. Whenever you cast an aura spell, you may draw a card. So he's going to put a whole bunch of things on it, grow it big, and then attack me. It looks like my opponent is from Japan.
Oh, cool.
You can get any, I think you have to pay for, you can get all sorts of stuff like that. I usually don't worry about it. I just play with the regular magic backs.
I love the dog in the corner, though. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, I don't have a pet. This is my little space for a pet over here.
Oh, that's his pet?
This is their pet.
Ah, that's funny.
It doesn't like me. It growl at me. If I click on it, you can also click on these. Okay. All the glitters. Why don't we just send that back to your hand? So that goes back in his hand. He still gets to draw the card, but then all the glitters goes to the graveyard. I don't have a 3-drop to play. So I'm going to go ahead and play this land here that enters the battlefield tapped. But I can scry. Oh yeah, I definitely want that. Oh, that's awesome. So he's going to untap, probably play a land, probably play Core Spirit Dancer, and maybe put something on it. But you see, this is really powerful because each player can't draw more than one card, right?
Right.
So this says he draws extra cards, but he won't when I get that on the field.
Oh, nice. I see.
So now I have
Well,
I have some things to think about. I think I'm going to do something that I don't normally do. Well, he's green-white.
You gotta pay life?
Well, I was thinking about not paying life, playing Narset, and not activating it, so that it has 5 power. That's what I'm going to do. Because I don't want to reduce its loyalty because he can attack it. So I'm basically leaving that there at 5 loyalty so that he has to get this power up to at least 4 so that he can attack. Well, he just did it. That's annoying. But I stopped him from drawing a card and it kept him from attacking my face here. You know? So if I pass and don't do anything with my mana open, he'll know I have Settle the Wreckage. But I still think it's correct. Because I mean, so he's gonna draw a bunch of cards here now. Oh, okay. That's neat, actually. Oh, okay. All right. I'm down with that. Oh, he's not respecting it. That was such a mistake on his part. So I cast this thing. These will go away. He'll get 2 land. But then I am in perfect position to take over the game now. Those get exiled. He's searching his library right now to put 2 lands into play. He's only got 3 cards left in his hand. This card here is really interesting, but it's time for me to take over the game. Teferi, Hero Dominaria. I'll draw a card. And then I can untap 2 lands. So now he's got a turn to play. Only got 3 cards. So whenever a creature enters... Okay. Gosh darn it. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. So he could be able to draw lots and lots of cards now. So he gets to scry twice. Bottom. Bottom. So he didn't like either one of those cards. He's got another Core Spirit Dancer. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. So he's going to scry twice again. You know what scry is?
No, I forgot.
Okay. It means that, well, it says right here on this card. I think it'll. No, it doesn't actually. Okay. Scry means.
Is it where you look at?
What's that?
You look at the top 2 cards and you put one in the bottom?
Yes. Well, scry 1 means you look at the top 1 card. But yes.
Okay. So you get a chance to look and then you can put it on the bottom if you don't want it.
Yeah. So, what I'm going to do this time is I am going to take the Core Spirit Dancer and stick it into his library, which gets rid of the enchantment that was on it. I'm going to cast Teferi, Master of Time. I'm going to go ahead and draw a card with Teferi. And then I'm going to discard Search for Azcanta, because I'm not going to end up playing that. So he plays another. That's his 4th Core Spirit Dancer. That's ridiculous. Okay, so all of these triggers go on the stack, and he is targeting that. Weird. This is okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna phase this out. Now we can resolve all those things. So he can't attack me because the creature that could attack is out of play. He can still draw some more cards. But nothing really matters. Nothing that's happened right now is really affecting me. My life is at 20. I still have both my Planeswalkers. He keeps taking that card and putting it back on top and putting it back on top. It's kind of funny. Now I need to draw Settle the Wreckage. And so I'm going to cycle the Shark Typhoon. Pay 0, confirm 0. Make a 0/0 shark, which just immediately dies. Aha! And there it is. Draw a card. Discard a card. Draw a card for the turn. Then I can untap 2 lands.
You know what? I'm not done.
And then I'm going to play Bojuka Bog and exile his graveyard. Pass back to him. And oh, I can also play a new Teferi. Heck yeah. Yep. Yes, I'm playing a second one of these. And you can only have 1 Teferi on the field, so when this enters the battlefield, it says I've got to choose one to keep. Well, I'm keeping this one because it hasn't been used yet. And then I can draw a card. And then I can discard a card. And then I can untap 2 lands. So now I have Settle the Wreckage mana. And I also have the ability on Teferi where I can pop it out of play. Okay, so my opponent's got a grip full of cards in his hand. Starfield Mystic. Okay, sure. Enchantments cost 1 less to cast. So he gets to scry twice, because he played a creature. Whenever an enchantment you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Starfield Mystic. So he's drawing a bunch more cards. And now he's got to decide how he wants to attack. What he wants to do. I guess he could probably try to draw some more cards if he wants to. Why not? Draws another card. He got 5 mana.
How many cards does he have in his hand? Jeez.
He has 14 cards in his hand. He's got 20 cards left in his library. He's being really ridiculous here. Like, all of this stuff that he's doing is for nothing. Because he's going to attack me, and I do not care how he attacks me, I'm going to stop his attack. So he just played this thing. It's an enchantment creature. It's a 1/1 lifelink. Sacrifice it to target creature or enchantment you control gains protection from the color of your choice. So if I had something that like I could target with, he could give it protection. For 1 mana. So like if I go to target it with my Teferi and make that thing go out, he could like sacrifice that creature. It's just he's just being silly here.
He's not doing anything.
Well, I mean, he's done a lot of stuff, but he's going to end up having to just discard down to 7.
Have you ever heard of John Wooden?
John Wooden?
Yeah, have you ever heard of John Wooden? The coach? He was at UCLA basketball coach. He won like 16 titles or something. And he has a saying, never confuse activity for achievement.
Okay, so he just went ahead and attacked with all of his creatures. I'm going to settle the wreckage. He doesn't have a way to stop that. All those creatures are exiled. All those enchantments go to the graveyard. He gets a bunch of land out of his deck. Now, the Starfield Mystic does get big. But it doesn't matter. Oh, and I'm going to draw a card. And now he has to discard down to 7 cards. He's got to go through all
He's
those.
only got 7 cards left?
In his hand. You can only have 7 cards at the end of your turn. So, of those 20 cards, he has to discard 13. So all that mess that he did was for nothing.
How did that happen?
He was being ridiculous. There's no reason.
But how does he only have to stay to 7?
That's a rule of Magic. It's been that way since the beginning of the game.
So you can't have 20 cards in your hand?
Not at the end of the game. Or not at the end of a turn. Okay, so draw a card.
No time for a break.
Okay. Draw a card and then discard it. Play Bojuka, exile his graveyard again. Now he has this 8/8, which is not nothing. I mean, that's a serious machine there. But I'm gonna play this Dream Trawler. And I'm gonna end my turn. Untap 2 lands. So now I have absorb mana up. I'm gonna let that resolve. I'll absorb that one. Drawing more cards. My plan is to block this creature and lose my Dream Trawler. Oh, wait. He wants to fight my creature. Oh, that sucks. I'll discard absorb. So now I can't. Now I can't block. I was planning on blocking. I wanted to save my Planeswalker. He has one card left in his library. He's killed himself. Because if you have no cards and you have to draw a card, you lose. So he can now no longer play a thing. He just killed himself right here. He just did it right here. Oh my gosh, good game.
Are you kidding me? He just outdrew himself?
He just drew his entire deck.
That's crazy.
That was ridiculous. He was the thing that is most frustrating is when you're playing against a person like this and you lose to them because of inevitabilities. That's frustrating. It's also kind of annoying when they just like
That game was a complete waste of time. All he did is draw cards.
Well, I mean, I was controlling what was happening. That was the whole thing. He did have a situation where he could use the 1/1 creature to protect his other thing, but then he could get an attack through, and he could have killed one of my Planeswalkers. But he'd have to do that exactly right because I had plans. Onward we go. Okay, so this hand is a little bit shaky because I've only got 2 land, but that's where you'll see the power of Search for Azcanta, which is one of the cards we hadn't talked about yet. So I'm going to keep this. Search for Azcanta. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may put it in the graveyard. If you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, you can transform it into the land. But it turns into a land. So I can just try to get land off the top of my library. Oh my goodness, what's going on over here? Ah! That same nonsense. He's playing a deck that's very similar to that other guy's deck. Oh. Okay. So now he's put Curious Obsession on it. Curious Obsession says that he gets +1/+1, and then whenever it deals damage, you get to draw a card. So he gets to draw extra cards. When this creature hits me, he draws a card. So it's kind of similar to what the other guy was doing. But the problem with this deck is he most likely has counter spells, which means that he'll be able to interact with me.
Buster! Buster, get back in here. Sorry.
Oh! I'm dead. I'm almost 100% dead here.
You're dead already?
Oh, well. This is weird. I'm going to do that same play again. I'm going to play this and I'm not... Oh, no, I'll activate it. I'll activate it because he can kill it regardless.
Hone your prowess.
So he may just ignore that. And just attack me. Yeah. I lose. That was nuts. The Ornithopter immediately becoming big and attacking was a serious deal there. And that is how the cookie crumbles. That's okay. I did well. I got to this point, so I get one rare, at least one rare, and then a couple of uncommons. And a little more gold than I paid to play.
That's good.
And we got
Hey, hold on. What's that?
Torgar. Famine Incarnate.
Oh, yeah.
This is an older card. Just a big dumb creature. Shield Mare. And Grappling Sundew. Alright. Well, that's all I really wanted to do, so. Yep. See ya.
I gotta take care of something. I'll see ya.